The biggest thing that we're facing here is Fatbergs. This is the meters that show how many liters a minute we're using of the chemicals.
They look like little radar guns.
So this is our grease pit.
Oh gosh, that's the smell. Hi everyone, my name's Emily Thievery. I'm also known as Ranger M. I'm an environmental educator and communicator, and I get to talk to a lot of different people about all things nature and conservation. I love to knowledge share, and that's what I want to do with you. So come on, let's go learn with Ranger M. Hi everyone, today I'm at the Greenway Treatment Centre in the City of London, and we're going to speak with Barry Orr, who's going to tell us a bit about the wastewater treatment process we have in the city. And we're going to learn a lot about what kind of goes down the toilet, goes down the drain, and what we can do to help, because wastewater treatment is a big deal and we can help in our own homes. So let's go find Barry. All right, hi Barry, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm the Sewer Outreach and Control Inspector for the City of London. So basically, I protect the sewer system and water environment for the City of London.
That's amazing. Can you tell us a bit about how you got here?
So it's a long way back now. Back about 25 plus years ago, I started. But what got me here really is I grew up on a farm just outside of London on Elvingston, and in Elvingston on our farm we had the Sydenham River running through it, and so you would find my dog and myself out there every day traveling along the river, and we had a pond, and so I was connected to water at a very young age, and as my career evolved, I was lucky enough that I could be involved in protecting the water environment, and so wastewater operations was my first job, and then about 13 years ago I started an outreach and enforcement program for the City of London, and hence here we are today.
And you have lots of outreach. Can you tell us a bit about what you have here?
Sure. The biggest thing that we're facing here at Wastewater and in our sewer system is Fatbergs. And so Fatbergs are when people dump their fat, soils, and grease, or inappropriate garbage such as wipes and feminine hygiene products and floss, all that kind of stuff. When it gets dumped down the drain, it solidifies into masses. And so that is actually a Fatberg. And so yes, we took those out of the sewer system that were blocking wastewater from flowing in. So that causes a big problem. So we developed a grease cup for people's fat, soils, and grease. We want you to take that used bacon and all that drippings, put it into the cup, harden it up, and then give it to us at our Enviro depots, and we will turn it into energy. So that's a big win for us. We've handed out over 150,000 of these cups in London. And we're getting a large quantity back. I think my last number was we've ended up with 50,000 kilograms of fats that we could process at either an anaerobic digester facility or turning it into biodiesel. So that's really a great success for the community here in London, because it's not going into our landfill, it's not going down our drains, and that really protects the environment, especially when we're facing a climate emergency, right?
And I read an article that said that you guys created these here, and they're now found in over 50 municipalities.
Yeah, we've had contacts all across Canada, the United States, even as far away as Australia, about our CUP program and how it's working. And the success really is attributed to the community here in London because they're using it. Heck, if I run out, people are emailing me, Barry, where are the cups? So that's great. And then the other scenario would be over here. That is a blockage in a pump with all those wipes, right? Like today we're seeing lots of disinfectant wipes because of COVID being used. Well, people should not flush them down the toilet, and when they do, they get jammed in our pumps and that kind of stuff. So that's another big issue for us.
So Barry, why are these things listed as flushable when they can't be flushed?
In Canada, we have no regulation or standard around the testing of products that could be labeled flushable. So between the Canadian Water and Wastewater Association and other groups in Canada, we've been lobbying our governments to get a standard in place. We've been creating testing criteria. So there's a group that I'm involved called the International Water Services Flushability Group, and we have come up with testing that will determine what is flushable and what isn't. And basically, you should only be flushing human waste and toilet paper down, right? That's it. And if we can get these wipes made of paper that will fall apart and disperse, then we could also flush them. We're currently not there yet. The issue around, the Fatbergs and all the wipes and all that kind of stuff is costing us over $250 million a year.
Wow.
That's crazy. Crazy, and I've been doing this for a long time. So over 10 years we've been fighting that. So we've got to do better.
So Barry, I see here that you have a comic strip. Is that you portrayed in the comic strip?
They did create me as a character right here called Captain Fog, Fat Soils and Grease. So across Canada I am known as Captain Fog, and so this strip ran in the magazine called Water Canada, and we did 12 different episodes of it, so that was really successful. And we've even turned it into a little coloring book for kids, and Captain Fog makes an appearance in here.
Wow, a real superhero.
Oh, well, just doing something that is required of a wastewater professional to educate our public, and you got to have fun doing it.
Yes, and you sure make it fun.
Yeah, thanks.
You were going to show us a little tour. Would you like to go? Would you like to head out?
Let's go down and see what we can see.
Awesome. Do you know the largest recorded Fatberg? Do you know the largest recorded Fatberg? According to The Independent, found in the depths of Liverpool's sewer system was an 84-meter Fatberg. It was longer than a passenger plane and weighed 90 tons, which is the equivalent of 13 African elephants.
Okay, so this is the screen room, and we have these screens that the wastewater flows through, and then we take out the stuff that gets stuck on the screen. So we have two different systems here. We have the low-level system, so way down about 3 stories, the wastewater is coming in and hitting those screens, and then we have our high-level system here, which you'll see is just literally below the grading, and it comes in, and then everything from here will flow gravity around the plant. Let's see if I can open a screen up here for you to see it. Okay, so you can see the screens, right? And you can see this rake, so the wastewater comes in, and any of that non-flushable material is going to now hit the screen, and then we're going to get it off. So what's the first thing that I come across?
A wipe. Oh
Exactly,
my gosh.
right? What's the second thing, so you see what I mean about people are treating the toilet like a garbage can, and that's really costly.
Yeah. So is this where you would find the Fatbergs at this stage?
Most of the time we find the garbage here. Okay. The Fatbergs typically are in the sewer system, in the sewer mains, and around various places around the plant there would be some, but this specifically is just for screening.
Does the Fatbergs really affect your equipment?
Completely, yeah. Because they can plug up the pumps, the impellers, and all that. Just this screen here, for instance, they can get entangled around here. There's a blade that comes and scrapes this stuff off. Then it goes through a compactor. So our response to this issue of non-flushable was to spend money on a compactor system that squeezes out the water, and then we take it to the landfill. So this is a great expense to you and me as ratepayers.
Yeah.
Because all I had to do was put it in the garbage at home, and then I wouldn't have had to pay for this, right, process, right? So we've gone down about 4 stories now, and you can see that that's the bottom, of the lowest system, right? That low level, this is the intake to our pumps. These are 100 horsepower pumps. And so then we have to take that wastewater and pump it up. So you're like saying, oh, really, do the Fatbergs cause a problem? Yes, because this is a 100 horsepower pump. As the impeller goes around, the wipes stick on it and they get jammed in there, and then we have to take this apart, and that's that one blockage I showed you was from inside there. That's it. So we have a vast array of an underground system. And so we're going to go underground, and I'll show you the system through the bottom. This here is that we use our effluent water that's going out to the river. We grab some of it and use it through our plant for hoses and different things as a water conservation thing. So these here are strainers and then pumps beside the bottom of the second stage, and the second stage is degridding. So basically we're trying to get any of the dirt or inorganic material off in a degridder system, and so this actually is the bottom of this tank above us. And so what happens is now it's gone through the screen, it comes over here into this vortex degridder, and it slows the flow down enough to get out the dirt, eggshells, that kind of thing. As you can see, we have various color coding of stuff. Like this is my process water, so everything we're using in the plant, we want to clean it again, so it goes to the front of our plant. We got potable water, we got flushing water, we got air. In the olden days, we used to have chlorine lines. We don't use chlorine anymore. You have all our electrical cables. We have our return lines for the wastewater, right? So a vast array of piping. Now we've gone through the screening, we've gone through the degridding, and the first real treatment stage is our primary. In the primary, the wastewater slows right down so that those solids will settle to the bottom and the floatables will float to the top. And all this is done is by simple holding the tank there. There's flights that go around and scrape things off into. So the flight comes along and scrapes the grease over into a trough. And as it comes around, it scrapes the sludge on the bottom into a trough. So this trough is sludge. And now we pump the sludge off the bottom of these tanks into our holding tanks for processing.
And what does processing mean?
So that means that we are able to put it into a centrifuge. The centrifuge spins it really, really fast with some polymer in that to get rid of some of the water. And we now have dried it out. And as we've dried it out, we've come up with a drier solid that we can put into the incinerator and incinerate it.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Yeah, so this is the meters that show how many liters a minute we're using of the chemicals, right? So you can see that this section is using 2.3 liters a minute. This section is using 3.8 liters a minute. And so that's all that SCADA process that we use, okay?
They look like little radar guns. Globally, do you know how much wastewater is released into the environment poorly or completely untreated? Globally, do you know how much wastewater is released into the environment poorly or completely untreated? According to the United Nations, over 80% of the world's wastewater is released to the environment without adequate treatment. We can do our part by ensuring only human waste and toilet paper go down our drains.
So in here, we actually have the pumps that are pumping off of the primary tanks. And so they're positive displacement pumps that are over here. So I'm going to show you that. So you can see this going around here. So basically the way it works is that it's creating a suction. So it's sucking off the bottom of that sump pit, and then it's pumping it to our holding tank. And so this, I'm going to try to show you a sample of the sludge. Okay? So back away. so that's sludge. That's like 2 or 3% solids in there, okay? So that's what we're pumping. And you can, it's got quite an odor to it too, right? Okay, so now we'll clean that up. So this is that flushing water that I was telling you about. This is why we want to utilize this kind of water. There's no point in using potable water to clean up this mess, right? So we utilize the flushing water. We actually have to grind up the material because there's so much still. It passes through the screen and we still end up with products that are jamming our pumps and everything. And so we have a grinder in here to try and grind up stuff before, and they plug up. So you just see every part of our plant is impacted by inappropriate items. If you see all the way down, that's going to our Section 3 plant. So it's quite a long way. So we're going to go up and see some of the stuff up above, but the galleyways are very vast in this plant. So here's what I wanted to show you. This is that screening material. So first thing, look at all the plastic items, right?
Yeah.
So these are wipes, feminine hygiene products. That's the floss. Look at all the floss in here. So as you break this stuff apart, you just see more and more evidence. Once a week, we're emptying these out, and so at this specific spot, we have the grit. So there's all of that grit that's been removed from the bottom, right? Like there's a pharmaceutical right there. That means that people are dumping medications down the drain instead of taking them to the pharmacy. So this is our grease pit.
Oh gosh, that's the smell.
Well, you might not stand back here. Right, so I'm gonna show you the end of the grease trough, and this is the grease pit. So that material all is what is there because it's floatable, and grease
Okay.
is floatable. When it washes your plates and everything, then we end up with a lot of grease here. If you look in here, you can see all the grease,
Oh wow, yeah.
right? Goes into that sump pit, and then anything that floats, grease, plastics, that kind of stuff. So you see the flight right there? So what happens is the wastewater comes in at that far end over there where the gates are, right?
It's slowly moving.
And then as it's coming in, the solids are settling to the bottom, and the floatables are floating to the top. And this flight is going across, moving the stuff that floated over to that pit. And then on the bottom, it's flipping down and scraping the bottom of the tank into the sump, and that's where you saw the sludge.
True or false? Canada has one of the largest renewable water supplies in the world. True or false? Canada has one of the largest renewable water supplies in the world. True. StatCan tells us that Canada has an average of 3,472 cubic kilometers of fresh water per year.
Primary effluent comes along through this channel,
Yep.
right? And so now it's going to enter the aeration tank. And so the aeration tank is lots of microorganisms in it. We have air in there to keep them all happy, right? And so it starts here, and then we keep it in here for, about 4 to 8 hours of contact time that the microorganisms are able to multiply and divide and digest the organic material. So you can see we're adding this is return. So that's the microorganisms from the bottom of the final tank. They settle. We pump them over here, and then they come in contact with the primary effluent, and there's lots of food here. So this is where they get all excited, right? Because there's food, and now they go through the process, and we give them oxygen, and that's basically how the system works. So I think this is really cool because, we can take something that is polluted as raw wastewater, clean it, process it, release it to the receiving stream at a highly regulated state, right? We're releasing 94% pure water. We go right to the middle because this is where it's called mixed liquor, will settle. We settle it because the microorganisms are heavy. Then we can pump them back again as return activated sludge. That starts that process all over again. But the water leaves here. So it's important to notice, right? Like we went through this whole entire process, from the screening process through the primary to the secondary to the final. And look at there's condoms and there's feminine hygiene product and there's little Q-tip pieces, you know, plastic Q-tips. Okay, so that's why it's really important everybody protects our system. And this is what's going out to the river. So you can see that now we've gone through the entire treatment process and it goes through the weir.
So how much water do you treat in a day?
Oh, on average at this plant we treat approximately 35 million gallons a day. Okay, so this is the UV. Everything from the plant now goes through the UV system and then out to the river. So we disinfect before it goes into the river.
So you mean UV like
ultraviolet radiation, or
like the sun rays?
That's right.
Very neat. And it basically like zaps the water?
Yeah, it zaps the microorganisms and rearranges their DNA in order that they actually cannot reproduce. Therefore, that virtually kills them, right?
Okay.
Right? That's how it would work. And then
it goes.
This goes out and out to the river there, so you can see that.
Well, Barry, I want to thank you again for taking us on a tour today. I definitely learned a lot, and it really showed how important it is and how much we can really help by just learning what we can't flush, and basically just human waste and toilet paper goes down the toilet, especially until we find some new technology in the sense of flushable items.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming here today and for putting this out to your viewers, because it is important to understand how our system works and how important it is, their role is to protect it. A simple thing by putting something into a garbage can instead of a toilet can save us hundreds of thousands of dollars, but also protect our water environment. And it's so simple, and so I think that by you being able to come and share this with your viewers, hopefully they'll have a better understanding, and then it becomes more sustainable, right?
Yes, for sure, and thank you again for that. Thanks for watching, and see you in nature. Join me for this week's activity by completing a home audit for your household's water usage. This is a great way to make the household aware of how much water is being used, where improvements can be made, and brainstorm ways to conserve water, which is both a benefit to the environment and your wallet. Following along on the chart provided, it will display estimates of each water-related activity. For example, average water used in a shower is 94 liters.